Hello, everybody. Welcome to Broadway.com's Live at 5. It is Wednesday, a two-show day.
It is.
It's May 15th. I'm Beth Stevens.
And I'm Ryan Lee Gilbert.
And we're here with Caitlin Moynihan.
Hello.
And her jazz hands.
And her jazz hands, as
And we
always.
have a very fancy and drowsy scribe with us today.
We do. Mr. Bob Martin of the PROM is here with us today. Very exciting.
And we will get to that very soon. But first, our top 5.
Big congratulations are in order for this new playwright in residence.
Jocelyn Baio has been named MCC Theater's Playwright in Residence. It is a 3-year term, so this will take her through the 2022 season as their
Feels
Playwright
very
in
far
Residence.
away.
It does feel very far away. But, of course, she received the Lucille Lortel Award and the Outer Critics Circle Award for her play Schoolgirls, or the African Mean Girls play.
Oh, I love that
which
show.
was so incredible. That premiered, of course, with MCC. She has a new play, Nollywood Dreams, that will be part of MCC's upcoming season. She has also written the new musical Goddess, she's the book writer on that, and she has contributed to the TV series Russian Doll, which is on Netflix. Incredible if you haven't watched that. And She's Gotta Have It. She's also an actress. Jocelyn Baio
That's true.
does everything. You may have seen her in The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, Everybody in the Blood, Men on Boats, and
In Boots on Boats.
and an octoroon. Of course, the residency is to give a playwright a multi-year home to develop their new work. Jocelyn Baio, absolutely incredible talent. Congratulations to you. Happy to have you part of MCC for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And casting has been announced for Barrington Stage Company's upcoming season.
Oh, you guys, have you been to Barrington Stage Company? Go on up. It is in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, and it is worth the drive.
It is.
And they have some casting. So Michael Kilgore will star as the witch in Into the Woods.
I love that.
It's enchanted
Love that.
casting, I would call it.
Well done.
Also, they have, are you ready? Mara Davi as the baker's wife.
So great.
Delicious.
Delicious. Well done.
Delicious. I'm sorry, I always get a little
Loopy.
slap happy at the end of the day. Joel De La Fuente will star in Jean Cicada's solo play Hold These Truths. And Ansa Akia and Jordan Barrow will star in Stacey Rose's world premiere play America version 2.1, The Sad Demise and Eventual Extinction of the American Negro.
Oh,
That sounds uplifting.
very interesting.
Deborah Jo Rupp will appear in David Ives' Time Flies and other comedies, and J. Anthony Crane will lead Stephen Levinson's If I Forget. And there are a lot
What a
more
great season.
great
Yeah.
names, including Julia Murney, up there in their main stage and second stage, so go check it out.
This stage favorite is heading across the pond.
Olivier Award nominee Tyrone Huntley will be joining The View Upstairs, the European premiere of Max Vernon's musical. Jonathan O'Boyle will be directing. It'll be playing at London's Soho Theatre beginning this July the 18th, and it will open officially on July 23rd. Of course, he received an Olivier Award nomination for his performance as Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar, and he is joining some Broadway favorites in the show. Andy Mantis, Declan Bennett, and John Partridge are also starring in The View Upstairs. Tyrone also made his directorial debut with a new production of Ain't Misbehavin' recently. The View Upstairs is so great. I saw it off-Broadway as well.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible musical. Go check it out, and congrats.
Vineyard Theatre just announced 2 of its 3 upcoming works.
And guess what? They're both written by women. I just want to
Yes,
point it out.
ladies.
The first is This a Room, which is conceived and directed by Obie winner Tina Satter. And should I tell you what it's about? Would you like me to
I
read?
would like to know. Regale me.
The play follows a 25-year-old former Air Force linguist who is charged with leaking evidence of Russian interference in U.S. elections. Wow.
I hear some
Seems
pulling
kind of ripped
from the headlines. a
She
little
remains
bit.
in jail with a record-breaking sentence.
Interesting.
It was first seen downtown at the Kitchen, and okay, next up. That was the first one. The next one will be Tuvalu, or The Saddest Song, written by Antoinette Nwandu and directed by Dana Tamor. Are you ready for this one? Set in Los Angeles in the mid-90s as 12-year-old Jackie is at a crossroads. You know, most 12-year-olds are at a crossroads.
Absolutely.
Don't you find?
12 years
I find
old.
that
Tough year.
It's a tough time.
year.
She's just been accepted to a private school in Brentwood, which is kind of shishi, the affluent white neighborhood. But at
That's where
home, the
OJ
rent
lived.
is past due. You didn't have to say that.
all I remember.
It's the mid-90s. You're right. It's the right time.
Yeah.
The rent is past due, and her mother's boyfriend has just come back to town.
Drama.
Drama
Yes.
ensues. Check out the Vineyard season when it comes out.
And we took you guys backstage and showed you how to build a prom.
I was waiting for this one.
Yes, this
Finally.
is so exciting. So last night, our editor-in-chief, Paul Wontorg, made his Broadway debut in The Prom. He played,
He played himself.
He played himself. At the top of the show, Olivia Keating comes out to interview
That's the
Dee Dee
character's
Allen.
name,
That's
yes.
the character's name. The role is normally played by Courtney Ballin, and interviews Dee Dee Allen at the top of the show about Eleanor, the Eleanor Roosevelt musical. This time it was Paul Wontorg. Congratulations. He made, there are photos from his night at the show. He also made a little
backstage
video
diary.
which
So
is great.
cute.
Henry, his dog, makes an appearance.
Also,
Brenda
I
Dawn's.
was in the audience.
That's right, you were there.
And I believe this is the first time Olivia Keating, the character, or Paul Wontorg, got bravos and cheers from,
Yes.
like
well,
the two of us.
the industry loves. So make sure you check that out. It's very, very exciting. Also on the site, we have a first look at Audra McDonald and Michael Shannon in Frankie and Johnny. You can see that. And George Salazar performed Michael in the bathroom.
I thought you were going to sing it for a second.
No.
It is catchy. It's
He
catchy.
performed that on Live with Kelly and Ryan, so you can check that out as well. Okay. Let's talk about the prom.
All right, we will.
I'm
Thank
done
you,
here.
Ryan.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Caitlin, will you tell us a little bit more about our guest?
Gladly, yes. We have Tony-winning scribe Bob Martin here in the studio with us today to celebrate his second Tony nomination, which he got for The Prom, which earned 7 Tony nominations, including Best Musical. He won a Tony in 2006 for The Drowsy Chaperone, which he also appeared in. What? He also wrote the book for Broadway's Elf the Musical. Follow at the Prom Musical on social media to stay up to date on this Tony-nominated musical. Whoops. And leave all of your questions in the comments below. Please welcome Bob and Beth.
Thank you, Caitlin. I need to make a correction. This man in chair has 3 Tony nominations
3.
and 1 win because he's also an actor.
Thank you for that correction.
You're welcome. I love
Here
the
I am.
prom.
Hello, Internet.
Hello, Internet and beyond. I love the prom.
There's something beyond the Internet?
No. It's just us here in our cozy little space having a little chat. I love the prom. I had so much fun
Thank you.
again seeing it last night. And here's what I love so much about it.
The writing?
Yes, the writing. Because I'm just going to give you, I'm not going to ask any question. I'm going to pontificate for a second. These jokes are so grounded in the structure of the show. They're so beautiful, and there's so many little Easter eggs for us theater fans in there, and some of them hit me in a different way seeing it again. Like I felt like, oh, I didn't catch that the first time. And
Oh,
that
good.
is so fun. So tell me, I know that you've talked about it before, but tell me a little bit about how this came to you.
Well, it's slightly interesting story.
Only slightly, though.
Jack Vertel, who's a producer in New York, artistic director of Encores, does a million different things, wrote the book on musical theater, actually.
Oh, that's true.
He brought Casey and Chad and Matt and myself into his office and pitched us this idea for a show. I mean, he really pitched us the complete idea about.
And he didn't want to write it himself.
He
was
did
just
not
giving
want to
you an
write it
idea.
himself. He just literally, out of the goodness of his heart, just said, "I have this great idea, and what do you think?" And he pitched it in whole cloth, as they say. About a girl who wants to take her same-sex partner to the prom, but the town reacts badly, and these failed Broadway performers decide to revitalize their careers by coming down and helping this girl, and they just make matters worse. That was the idea in a nutshell that he pitched to us, and we thought, oh, it's great. It's rooted in contemporary politics. It has heart at its center, but then it has this, frothy comic shell around it.
Oh,
so
totally.
we were really excited about
And
it.
it was kind of ripped from the headlines, right?
It was ripped from
Ripped.
the headlines.
I love to say that. Feels very Law and Order.
Yeah.
But no, there were many stories about that sort of
There
bubbling
were
around
many
at that
incidents
time.
and sadly are still going on. The show took between 7 and 8 years to develop, and in the beginning we thought maybe it's not relevant anymore because things were going kind of
They were going well for a second there.
For a second, and then things changed with an election, and it became more relevant than ever, and so here we are.
What's wonderful also is that the original members of the cast who were in the original reading are now the stars of the show. And
Yes.
that also you have worked with Chad Beglin, you've worked with Matt Sklar and Casey Nicolau before. So there must have been a lot of sort of trust in the room, so to speak. You must really like these guys.
We all like each other. At least we say that to each other's faces. But I mean, we
That's
get
generous.
along really well. We have a short form language. We trust each other. There's no politics in the writing room kind of thing. And it was actually a really fun process, which is it doesn't always happen. And plus, we got to work with the best comedians on Broadway and
Absolutely.
tailored the roles for them. As you say, from the very beginning, they were at the table.
Talking
And,
about Beth
yeah.
Level and Christopher Sieber and
Angie
Angie
Schwar.
Schwar and Brooks Ashmanskas.
Yes.
And just knowing how to spell Ashmanskas means you're in the club.
Yes.
So, in working with them and tailoring them, what were you tailoring the parts for them? What were their strengths that you were playing to?
Well, they're all pros. I mean, I my whole theory about comedy is it's go to the worst version of yourself and put that out on stage, and people will laugh. And so, we allowed Beth and Brooks especially to get into the sort of narcissist at the heart of every actor.
Yes.
And they really mine that. And so it was really, really fun. It's really fun to be obnoxious in front of a group of people every night. And then, they in the show, they evolve.
And they're some of the best, not only musical theater performers, but comedians.
Great,
Working on
very
this
skilled
stage. I'm sure
pros.
that they collaborated with you with some of those lines.
Oh yeah. It was very lab-like. We would, write versions of the scenes, work at with the actors, and then say, what do you think? What would you improve? How, and they're great. I mean, some comedy often comes down to just rhythm, and we know. I mean, Beth Level, for instance, I've had 3 shows on Broadway, and she's starred in each of them.
Right.
So I know her rhythms really well.
You're not going to do anything without her, I heard.
I hope not.
It's in your contract, right?
Yes.
Or her contract.
I would be happy if that was in my contract.
So you know her rhythm and you know how she can land.
Yes.
A line.
Yes. And similarly, Matt and Chad really know the vocal abilities of each performer, and they've written the material for them as well. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about these Easter eggs. I'm calling them because they're kind of hidden within the script. This is really a love letter to the theater community, but it's working on 2 levels because some of us who, I assume if you're watching this that you probably really like theater because this is Broadway.com's Facebook page. Hi. But also, if you bring your mom or your uncle who doesn't know that much about theater, they're also going to get a different, they're going to get comedy as well. So tell me some of the things you just sort of like sneaked in there, to use proper English, for us theater lovers.
Oh, there's all kinds of references. There's a reference to the drama desk. There's a reference to
Yes,
Tony
there is.
Awards. Musically, there's a lot of references to Sondheim and Stephen Schwartz, and Sklar is very smart that way. But it's interesting because all of the theater-specific material works great in the early part of a run in New York City, and then
Right.
and then it
And
doesn't
then
work
the
quite
civilians
as
come.
well.
Yeah.
Like there's a joke about that Angie makes about do this for all the people who used to be called gypsies,
Right.
which
You know what we're talking about, right? The gypsy robe, now called the legacy robe.
the legacy robe, and the actual people who get the legacy robe. I mean, what are they called now? There is not actually a term.
Right, ensemble members.
Ensemble members.
Doesn't have the same ring.
Do it for all us ensemble members. See,
Yeah,
it
the
doesn't
rhythm,
have the same.
yeah.
So in the beginning, that particular joke got a huge laugh, and I'm sure it just did now from 2 people in the internet. But after
me.
a few weeks, that did not have the resonance that it did in the beginning.
Well, I saw it last night and I got a huge laugh.
Oh,
and
good,
also, okay, but tell us some of, all right, here's my question. I have a lot of questions. I'm so excited. What are some of your cut jokes that you miss?
Well, the whole show used to begin in a completely different way. The whole show used to begin with the last moments of 3 terrible musicals that our protagonists were starring in. Those musicals were Forrest Gump the musical, Goonies the musical, and my personal favorite, Long Day's Journey into Night the musical.
The musical. I hope that had an exclamation point.
Journey.
Journey.
Yes.
The musical.
That was
Yeah.
Trent's in it. And So the show used to begin with, I have a little bit of a cold. The show used to begin with the last moment of the closing number of each of those musicals as performed by our principals. And after they bow, there were confetti cannons. Even at Journey, right?
Because that deserves a
Yes.
There's no better ending to a musical than a confetti cannon.
It was
doesn't matter what the material was.
I think an extremely funny way to begin the show. I miss it a lot. But at the same time, the sort of crux of it was that they were Broadway performers who hated their lives.
Because they had to do that material every day.
It's not the most sympathetic position to be in, to be a privileged
sense.
person in a Broadway show complaining about how miserable you are.
Sure.
So, we altered the beginning of our show.
You
It was
did
very
alter the
funny,
beginning
though.
of your show, and one of the greatest things about that is the press agent Josh Lehman, who plays the press agent in the show, reads a horrible, or parts of a horrible, terrible, monstrous review.
Yeah.
Give me some of the adjectives you used there. Tell me where did you come up with that inner evil critic?
I can
Bob
tell you
Martin?
where what inspired the whole thing, which is a real incident. I went to the opening night party of a show that I will not mention. This
Off
was
camera.
a few years
we're gonna
ago.
we're gonna get to it.
Yeah, I'll tell you off camera.
Journey, the music.
And I didn't see the show that night because I was performing, I think. So I went to
You just went to the party.
and I walked up. I walked up to the producer, who was a friend of mine, hugged him, and he said, I said, "Congratulations," and he said, "We're closing in 7 days."
Whoa, it does
And I
happen.
said, "What?"
It happens.
And he said, "Well, we have terrible advanced sales, and we just got this terrible
Scathing
review in the
review.
Times." And I mean, that's exactly what we portray in the show. We say, well, no show can last with shitty advanced sales with a review like this in the Times. And it was based
But you also
entirely on a real
quote
experience.
the review, and you got
We
to
do.
play as the writer. I mean, not play, but in writing it, you got to be that critic.
Yeah,
that,
it was
that
fun.
Cathartic for you to
Yeah,
to
well,
rip it?
cathartic. It was. I mean, Beth's criticism is probably the best, which is like it's like watching an aging drag queen shove a syrup-soaked American flag down your throat.
Yeah, that doesn't make you want to run out and
We've
buy
all
a ticket.
had horrible, horrible things said about us in the press. So again, it was fun to go there. I mean, we thought, is this a smart idea, beginning our show with a bad review in the Times? But, who could
worked
have
out.
expected? It worked out, yes.
I also want to say that there's a little moment when they go to the hotel, and as you do, I assume that your bag has your Tony Award in it, correct? You carry it around
Sometimes. Today
sometimes
I don't.
as needed,
Yeah,
especially when traveling.
when I'm feeling insecure.
Especially if you have two, you definitely want to. So there's that moment, and the drama desk is a very funny visual moment. But also, Angie says Dickinson.
Yeah,
She
very
says
good.
that she put the name of she used the name Dickinson. And I didn't catch it the first time, but I said to her afterward, I saw her on stage afterward, and I said, I love that joke. And she said, nobody ever laughs, but Bob Martin loves it.
I think it's Chad Beglin's joke, actually. But
Oh, yeah,
yes,
blame Chad, blame Chad.
yeah, I love it. I love it. It's
Are there any
hilarious.
other little ones that you just are your babies?
I one of my favorite things is another Chad Beglin line. He's a comic genius, that man.
He is.
In the Prince of Mr. Hawkins' impassioned speech to Beth just before she sings The Lady's Improving, he describes what that song, The Lady's Improving, did in her show,
something
Swallow
about
the
the
Moon.
circus.
And we said, we have to put something in that speech that suggests the subject matter of the show. And
I
so
was
he says to
actually-
this, that's why he didn't fire you from the circus act. And that is just one of my
It just
favorite
was
lines.
wow. Did you, as that was happening, I was thinking, did they create a plot line for Swallow the Moon, which is just reference? It's not a real show. No, you didn't.
We didn't.
No.
I'd like to say it's opening at Paper Mill next season.
I
But
mean, that's
no,
what
we
I
did
was
not.
kind of hoping you would say. I know that there will be confetti cannons, though.
Yes.
If it ever
Yeah, if it
happens.
does, there'll be lots.
There will
That's
definitely
true.
be confetti cannons.
That's
Okay, I
good.
know you guys have questions for Mr. Martin. So,
Yes.
Caitlin.
Great. Okay. So the first question is Benny wants to know, how does it feel to see that the prom has gotten so much love, and especially a lot of Tony nominations, and knowing the journey that it took to get to Broadway? How does it feel? How are you feeling right now?
Horrible. It feels. It is a kind of wonderful and horrible at the same time. Tony season, just so you know. Benny, was it?
Yeah.
Because of course we're thrilled with 7 nominations. It feels so great to see when I go to the show now. to see the last 3 people on the curtain call have all been nominated for Tony Awards.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. But the season, the award season itself, messes with your brain. And you can't watch anything without becoming a horrible, bitter person. So theater itself
What are you
becomes this
talking about?
unpleasant exercise.
You mean when you go to see other shows?
When you go and see other shows, you go to see shows by your friends, and you normally would go, oh, well,
Because
well
art
done.
should
And
be
you
a
go, "Oh."
competition.
Yes, exactly. I don't believe in competition in the arts. I don't believe in comparing 2 shows that have nothing in common and have them fight it out in an arena for an award. It's horrifying.
It would
It's
be fun.
awful. But at the same time, yes. And that's
And
why
wonderful.
I'm sick. I'm literally sick because of this season. But I had a friend call me up to this. I'm laughing. I had a friend call me up to. He's having a terrible health crisis. He had a bad medical test result come back, and he said, "How are you?" It's like, "Oh man, Tony season's awful."
I'm terrible. I have 7 Tony
yeah.
nominations. It's a slog.
So what I'm saying is, I should not be complaining. And
But it's funny
we
when you
love
complain.
the fact that the prom has connected with people in a big way. That standing at the stage door of the prom, it just makes you feel like an incredibly, it just restores your faith in humanity. So we're thrilled with it all.
I love that. So Fred says, the prom was my daughter's first Broadway show.
Aw.
Thank you for such an amazing, heartwarming experience. What part of it was the most rewarding for you to write?
Well, I first of all, there's nothing better than being told that something you've written is someone's first exposure to Broadway. That happened to me with Drowsy Chaperone often, and I would go, "Wow, the first show you saw was Drowsy Chaperone," because that's a bizarre show. It's not typical.
That's your specialty.
But
Bob.
anyway, I think my favorite moment in the show, I suppose, is the moment where Mrs. Green, without giving too much away, where Alyssa comes out and the exchange that they have. It's we decided to not musicalize that moment and to make it very, very real and
They could
and-
have a spin-off show. I mean, they're very complete characters, these featured performers.
and Courtney is just a fantastic actress and has made it's very tempting to just do Mrs. Green as a complete all-out villain,
Yeah.
but she isn't. She's someone who loves her daughter, and she's just made terrible choices, which she thinks are good choices. So it was really great to be able to write that level of detail and emotion in a musical comedy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you an ignorant question because you're Canadian,
Yes,
and they walk among us, the Canadians. Did you go to prom?
I did not.
Were there proms? Was that a thing?
No. We did not have.
You're too
and
busy
when
shoveling snow, or what? What?
Yeah. When I was in school a long time ago, we did not have proms. Now I believe there are proms. We had a senior dance, which I can't remember much about. I know it was at a facility
Oh,
called
I wanted
Fantasy
to ask you about your
Farm.
aqua.
No, I didn't.
No,
I didn't wear.
no silver tux.
Yeah, I just, and also I was a too cool for school kind of kid.
You were an
and-
artiste.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
Amazing.
And unpopular. So you add those 2 things together, and there was no prom experience for me.
It's so uplifting talking to you, really.
I know, I'm awful. I'm awful.
I love it. I
apologize.
don't mind at all. we have one more question.
Yeah,
Kate.
last
Okay.
question will be David asks, he says, Drowsy
Is that
Chaperone.
Yazbek?
No, it's Yazbek.
Okay.
Not that David. Another
Okay.
David. He says, Drowsy Chaperone was my first Broadway musical. Do you have
There you
any
go.
favorite memories from Drowsy? There we go.
This was
full
your first.
circle.
That's interesting.
Yeah, David.
Well, Drowsy the whole experience was insane and wonderful. Oh man, I don't know if I can pick any one moment. I will describe an entirely unique moment, which is the show begins in the dark, and I'm sitting in a chair behind the curtain before the house lights go out, with my face literally, just because of the positioning of the set, right up against the curtain. So my Broadway debut started that way, and you really have to wrap your head around that. I was this guy from Canada. I had never worked in the United States before. I was opening my own Broadway show with this curtain pressed against my face, and it goes up, and the house is dark, and I have to start speaking. So that very
terrifying.
first moment was terrifying, but you just put your head down and you move forward. It was a great experience. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah. All right. Before you go,
Yes.
we have to ask you about your upcoming projects.
Yes.
Go on. You have so many of them. I can't. You have like 7 upcoming projects. But tell me about some of the ones that are in the
Well,
works.
I'm doing an adaptation of Princess Bride.
Oh, I
I'm
heard
working
that.
on with Rick Ellis and David Yazbek. And I say David Yazbek
Because he's
you know,
nominated too for
yes,
Tootsie.
yes.
Or is there another reason? I don't know.
No. And
Jealous
I love
of the
him
beard? I don't know.
so much, which is why the Tony season is so ridiculous. But anyway, so that one I'm very excited about. We're actually meeting tomorrow about that. There's,
come?
Can you come to the meeting? There'll be
I
coffee.
thought we'd ask. No, there'll be coffee,
It's
right?
at Disney. They have really nice coffee at Disney.
Okay, what time? No.
There's a few things. We have Adam Gettle and I have a show called Millions, which is completed and waiting to be staged somewhere. It's a beautiful show. He's written amazing material for that show.
And he's also nominated.
He is
Do you
nominated.
only work with Tony nominees or winners?
Yes, generally that's what I try to do.
That's what you do. I think that's a good policy in general.
I think so.
I'm going to put that in my contract. And so those are the 2 big projects you're working on.
Yeah,
right
but there's, in the weird life of a Broadway book writer, you have to keep many projects going. So there are quite a few. And are you alluding to one? Are you talking
No,
about
those are the 2 I knew about as being like in process.
There is a Drowsy Chaperone sequel in the works. For those
Go
of you
on.
who would be interested in that. And it's because we were going to do, it's, time to put it on stage again. It's been 13 years now. But we thought, well, because it's Drowsy, instead of a revival, let's revisit the man 13 years later and let's play another show for the audience.
Will he have a name this time?
Will he have a name? Well, you'll have to buy a ticket.
Will Beth Level be involved?
Yes, I want, but yes.
Okay,
We've
that's
already
all I
talked
really
to her
care
about
about.
it, so.
Will there be a confetti cannon?
Oh, I don't know. Thank you. Maybe.
You're welcome.
Thank
I'm
you
here
that.
for you.
Yeah.
I'm here for you. You guys, this is a very talented individual. He has a Tony Award and some nominations under his belt. Congratulations on the prom.
Thank you.
Bob.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm such a dark, weird person, but thank you, Internet.
This is what we love about you, Bob. You guys, go see the prom. Caitlin, will you take us on out?
Yes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We are live at 5 every single day on Facebook. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts by searching for hashtag live at 5 and hitting that subscribe button. Be sure to tune in tomorrow when we talk to Andre D. Shields of Hadestown.